Well, welcome, Gerry. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Peter.
Well, we're coming towards the end of the 2014 Spring Meetings. What were the key themes coming out of the meetings this year?
Well, I think there were a couple of major themes. One was clearly on the global economy and the recovery. Where do we stand? And I think the sense was that the global economy is finally beginning to turn the corner of the Great Recession. But that recovery remains still too slow, still too fragile, still too many people unemployed, and so more policy action required. A second theme was around IMF governance reform. There's been, as you know, unanimous support virtually for the 2010 quota reform, which would secure the fund's resources, making them more permanent, and also make the representation of the fund more dynamic, particularly with a view to our emerging market membership. Unfortunately, we're still waiting for that legislation to be approved by the US Congress, and there was a sense at the meetings that some more time should be given for that decision to be taken before moving ahead on possible other options at the end of the year. A third theme was Ukraine, and obviously, given what's going on in Ukraine, there was a great deal of attention to that. The membership knows that the fund is proposing to move ahead with a program. Our board will meet on that probably later this month or early next month.
So what came out of the policy recommendations for the IMFC meetings, our policy steering committee?
In the IMFC, the big policy discussion at these meetings centered around the issue of growth. You know, how do we get more growth? How do we get higher quality growth? How do we get growth that's better shared? And that was really front and center in the discussion. There's an agenda there for the advanced economies where the discussion tended to focus around the issue of low inflation and how that can be addressed. There's an agenda there for the emerging markets, the normalization of monetary policy, particularly in the United States, is going to have some effect for the emerging markets and what emerging markets need to do in terms of their policy fundamentals to safeguard against that. And there's an agenda there for the low-income countries. They continue to be a bright spot in terms of their growth, but they need to maintain the policy momentum that has helped them achieve that in recent years. One second item, I don't know if we'd call it a policy item, but the whole issue of strengthening cooperation was a major theme. And I think a recognition that for a smooth management of monetary normalization, you need coordination across countries. To rectify global imbalances, you need deficit and surplus countries to be talking to each other. And to manage geopolitical risks, for example, Ukraine was discussed a lot. You really need cooperation. So I think our little hashtag for these meetings, you know, the Twitter hashtag 188together was the right one.
Okay, Gerry, well, how about our engagement with external stakeholders? When we come together, of course, during the spring meetings and annual meetings, typically we have quite a lot of representatives from external organizations. How did that go?
Well, you're right. Our meetings now have become this major platform for engagement with external groups. Coming into the meetings, our flagship publications, the World Economic Outlook, the Global Financial Stability Report, the Fiscal Monitor, I think really helped to set the economic message, if you like, for external audiences. We had over 1,000 journalists in the building over these last few days, again helping to make sure that the discussions, the messages were communicated to the outside world. We had civil society organizations from all over the world. Someone told me there were 63 different meetings going on with youth groups, parliamentarians, labour groups, again from different parts of the fund membership. And then we had this really tremendous program of world-class seminars covering everything from the emerging markets to rising Africa to income inequality to, a full-day fiscal seminar, a full-day seminar on monetary issues, and a little hidden gem, we also had a seminar on IMF at 70, since we were looking at the 70th anniversary of the IMF at these meetings as well.
Well, thank you very much, Gerry, for summarizing this so eloquently and for taking the time today.
And thank you, Peter.